So, Tom, Waterloo back in the 70s, what inspired you to make the documentary?
Well, I'd been quite actively involved in making videos at the time with a range of community groups in the Sydney area, not only in Waterloo but also in Glebe and the Rocks and Balmain. These videos presented the issues that those communities felt were relevant at the time, and the videotapes were sort of quite quickly put together programs which were shown back to the residents in those areas, and went further than that, went to government, state and federal as well. And I wanted to reach a larger public, and that's why I shifted from, well, I did two things: shifted from video to film, but also tried to focus just around one particular community, and that was the one in Waterloo.
What was so
Um,
interesting about Waterloo back then?
well, I was interested in a woman who was leading the struggle there, Margaret Barry. She was a local activist, grew up in the area, lived there, and I was interested in her as much as I was interested in the suburb, really. And through her, I got to know the suburb. And in fact, the film was going to focus around a particular issue about the high-rise flats they're going to build, but that issue was resolved quite early on in the filming, and I had to then look at the backstory of. I chose to make the film actually around the history, and I had no alternative, given that there was no kind of campaign that I could film. At the time, the campaign sort of ended very quickly in a victory. So I then looked into what caused the problems for the residents in the first place.
Fantastic. So it was kind of an era of proposed change for Waterloo, whereas now it seems to be an area of a lot of actual change and another period of redevelopment. Are you familiar with the area at the moment?
Well, I'm familiar enough to know that there is gentrification happening, and as far as I know, the community is pretty fractured between the high-rise tenants, some of the low-rise tenants, and people who are moving in, buying up real estate. I'm not aware that there are any further plans for housing more low-income tenants in the suburb, and I'd be interested to find out if, in fact, there were plans to perhaps dismantle the towers. I heard that might be happening, but that was sort of last year's rumour, I think. So I'm not really familiar with what's happening right now.
Yeah, what we can see at the moment, the Redfern Waterloo Authority is driving a lot of those changes. Have you got any opinion on what they're doing?
All I know is that they are concentrating development around the railway stations. That's all I'm familiar with, and probably creating more kind of commuter apartment style buildings, but that's about all I know. I think I'm not so much opposed to that. I mean, I think that creates an interesting community mix, actually. But no, I'm not really informed about that, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. Thank you. And just one last question. A number of people are saying that Waterloo could become the new Newtown or the new Surrey Hills. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Surrey Hills has crept over across Cleveland Street into Waterloo already. So it's kind of happened in a way. But I can't see that becoming another Newtown in the foreseeable future. I think there'll be an interesting mix of low-income residents and young middle-class families and single commuters, probably more single commuters. I think it'll actually enrich the area.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for your time today, Tom.
No worries at all.